Very happy to have Shannon Powell today. You know, New Orleans has always been known as a great city for drummers, and Shannon Powell is one of the greatest New Orleans drummers in a long list of jazz drummers. And it's very, very informal. He's going to talk a little bit about his background. I want to ask you about how King of Treme came about. You know, is it true you're the oldest guy in Treme?
Yeah, I'm older.
That's unbelievable, because I know I'm older than you. That makes me feel really old.
I'm the oldest living musician in the Treme.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But so anyway, and you know, it's very informal. So he's going to talk a little bit, but obviously we want to ask him a lot of questions. I have some questions about him and growing up in Treme and James Black and his influences and things like that. But how about a hand for Shannon Powell?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to apologize for being a few minutes late.
Hey, it's New Orleans, man.
That's New Orleans. Thank you, Steve. But first of all, I'd just like to share a little something with you all that's very important, what he was just saying about being the oldest living musician. That's what I claim to be, the oldest living musician from the Treme. And that's very important because as a kid, when I grew up, there were lots of musicians, and they all were old. Matter of fact, back in the 70s, I was the only kid in the Treme playing music. Now, there's hundreds of them. I don't know where they came from, but I tell you this, I wish they was around when I was playing, because I could have had a hell of a band back then, you know? But back in the 70s, when I was growing up, 60s and 70s, and I was growing up in the Treme, there weren't any kids playing music except for me. And I was hanging around with some of the greatest musicians in the world back then in the Treme. I happened to be able to go to their homes and sit down and talk with them and spend time learning and listening, not so much learning how to read and things like that, but just learning about the music and the culture and where the music came from. And it was very important because when I met Danny Barker, there was a lot of things that he taught me too about being not only a great musician, but about being professional. And the music that I learned to play in the Treme coming up as a kid allowed me to be the musician I am today. Like I tell people all over the world, I never really had formal training, although I went to Bell Junior High School and I played in the concert band. I went to Clark Senior High School and played. But I tend to learn my music, and my gift came straight from the heart. You know, God gave me this blessing, and I've been taking it and been dealing with it for the rest of all my life, all over the world. And I was so fortunate to come up around all these great musicians because I was able to pick up so much at so little time. You know, like the great James Black, Mr. Louis Barberin, who's a great drummer, the brother of the late great Paul Barberin, which I'm sure you all have heard of. These people were some of the great musicians of New Orleans that represented New Orleans back many years with Louis Armstrong. Paul Barberin played with Louis Armstrong. His brother Louis was a great teacher and taught people like Earl Palmer and people like that. So I used to sit in the Preservation Hall back in the 70s, right on the side, and listen to the great Louis Barberin play traditional New Orleans music. That's why I tell people I don't play Dixieland music. If you come to hear Dixieland, you're in the wrong house. We don't play Dixieland. We're from the land of Dixie, but we don't play Dixie music. So that's one thing I like to get y'all to understand too. This music, we still trying to figure out where that word Dixieland comes from. Nobody seems to know where it comes from. But we don't play that. We play traditional New Orleans music. And if you're a real musician or a real music lover, you can tell the difference. Totally. You know, if you hear some New Orleans second line music, you know that's New Orleans traditional music there. I don't know what that other, you know, I don't know that other thing. But anyway, we don't leave that alone. You know, but I was able to absorb that style hanging in the Preservation Hall. But before the Preservation Hall, I came into encounter with the Sanctified Church, which was right next door to my house. It's called the St. Philip Street Church of God in Christ. And that's where I really learned about rhythm and syncopated rhythm, and just listening to a lot of women that were playing in the church back then when I was a little boy. they would play these big heavy tambourines. I got a light one, as you can see. But back then they was playing these real heavy tambourines. I could hardly hold it in my hand. And these women was playing this thing, you know what I'm saying? And I really, really fell in love with that when I used to go sit in the church. And it inspired me to want to play the drums. And then after I saw the women playing the tambourine, after the preacher would preach, he'd sit down and start playing the drums. And he started playing some stuff. I was like, oh, what is this? Along with what they were doing. See, they were doing like, now check it out. They didn't do the second line thing. They didn't do it. They didn't do that. They just, that's what they did in church. They didn't do the double up. That came later. See, I got that in the streets when the brass band came down. But you see, and then the preacher, when he finished preaching and they doing the tambourine thing with the choir, he had a drum, a bass drum, a snare drum with just a hi-hat. He didn't have no cymbals. But the sound that this man was getting out of those, that snare drum, that cymbal, and that hi-hat and bass drum was like this. See, that's what they were doing with this here. Now back then they had an old lady, she had a big old bass drum. I mean a huge bass drum, bigger than all of us. And she had a big old mallet, and she used to sit right on the side and play that bass drum. She had a mallet with a lot of fur on it. I used to call it fur. A lot of fur on it. And she would hit that thing, and you could just feel it, you know, because she knew what she was doing. And then sometimes she goes like, I said, whoa. Yeah, Mom had some feeling. Mom had some real feeling, you know what I'm saying? So all that stuff that I learned in there, I found out later on that all that had a lot to do with the streets of New Orleans brass band music, because it was the same beat, you know what I'm saying? And when I went to the Preservation Hall, this is the same rhythm that the drummers over there were playing, but with different syncopated rhythms. All of the different drummers had different ways of presenting the New Orleans traditional music. That's what was so great about it, because if I would watch Louis Barberin one night, he played one way, and the next night I would watch this great drummer by the name of Mr. Mr. Freddie Coleman. Freddie Coleman had a whole other style of way he bring it, because he's from a different neighborhood. He come from across the river. See, everybody had a different way of playing New Orleans second line music, but it was all good, because it was all related and it still had the same feeling. But it was very, very interesting to see that, to hear that, and to see that everybody had a different way of playing it. You know, we had a drummer called Mr. Richard Knox, Mr. Lonzo Stewart, in the bass drum. He played on the streets. He played the full bars. He played full going out. Most of the drummers never did that. They just play 2 and 4. See, when we go out, the lines would start going out like we swinging. And it was like, wow. And it felt good. It felt like an orchestra, you know what I'm saying? Going out like that. But I just wanted to share that with you all, just to let you know that a lot of the music, anybody in the room familiar with habanero? You familiar with that? Habanero is Spanish melodies and African rhythms. And all of this music that you're hearing in New Orleans and all these syncopated rhythms have a lot to do with the habanero. Samba, rumba, begin, all of that is all related. The second line beat is related to all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Is that Cuban?
Cuban, Latin, Cuban, all that's part of second line music is part of all of that.
The habanero is Cuban too?
That's right. Habanero, not the hot sauce now. Not the hot pepper. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, let y'all know that my musical background is deeply rooted in New Orleans traditional music. But I was able to hear so much great music and see so much great music. I always tell people too that I know for sure that I have really truly caught the last part of the real New Orleans. I was able to see and hear some of the great musicians that have passed on, and I was able to see some of the other side of the culture of New Orleans that was real. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that the culture is not really there, but it has changed so much since I was a kid. Everything has changed drastically. Musically, seems like to me when somebody died that was great in the music, we lose part of the music and the culture because nobody pays attention to that person no more. And I think that's sad. You know, nobody pays attention to the person that died and left all of this great stuff for us. I mean, you know, their names are not mentioned, it's too fast, you know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of young musicians that like you all that going to school don't really get a chance to understand some of the things that you need to know because you haven't been there and nobody's telling you these things. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you once again, I have never had formal training. Everything I know today is from watching some of the greats. And I'm proud of that. You know, I had a problem one time with reading music when I started playing with Harry Connick Jr. Guess what? I learned to read, y'all. I had to, I wanted to feed my family. I had the opportunity to do something once in a lifetime.
Zigaboo said the same thing.
That's right, Zigaboo.
Yeah,
That's right.
I went to his clinic and he said he wasn't formally taught.
That's exactly
He used to
right.
listen to people.
Oh, you'd be surprised some of the great drummers in the world that have never been formally taught that couldn't read and play. But from what I heard from some of the greats, they always told me, "Oh, you're a drummer, you don't have to read." That's not true.
You remember when I was studying with David Lee and you came in after me to have a lesson with him?
That's right.
Yeah, at his house.
That's right, I remember that.
I was walking out the door and he was coming in.
That's right, that's why you so bad. You took lessons from a bad man. Yeah. So, you know, also, people like James Black, he lived right around the corner from me, see? Smokey Johnson, I mean, not Smokey, John Boudreaux, great drummer, lived right around the corner from me. Mr. Earl Palmer lived in my neighborhood, you know. Mr. Edward Blackwell lived in the neighborhood for a minute, but he come from uptown. But I was able to hang out with him as a kid, you know. James Black, I passed his house one day. I had been all my life listening to second line music, listening to Preservation Hall, traditional Saeed Frazier, and this is the music I've been playing. But I passed by James Black's house one day, and he was playing some stuff in there, and I stopped right by the door, and I was like, wow. I was like, well, who is this? And I mean, he was, yeah, right around the corner on Ursuline Street, and he was playing all kinds of drums. And at that, I must have been about 11 years old, you know, but I stood in front of the door and realized right then and there that that was another way of playing music, playing the drums. You know what I'm saying? Because there's all kinds of ways of playing. There's all sorts of styles. You know what I'm saying? There's some drummers that play one style. That's what he liked. I happen to be fortunate enough to grow up in New Orleans to be around a lot of styles. Gospel, rhythm and blues, funk, best jazz in all of the world. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to grasp a lot, you know. Even in my Baptist church, well, in the Methodist church that I went to, there was good musicians in there. Wonderful people that could sing. Wonderful people that could play piano and organ. You know, I'm picking up this experience playing with a 100-piece choir. You know, but at 13 years old, I'm playing with a 100-piece choir. Learning how to play with brushes, mallets, learning how to play dynamic with you know, not, you know what I'm saying, not playing loud, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Would you call Treme the heart of New Orleans music?
Most definitely. We call Treme the heart of the music all over the world.
And all these guys lived in Treme with you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I come behind all them people. Smokey Johnson and John Boudreaux lived around the corner. They would practice 12 hours a day. The two of them, in the room by themselves. 12 hours a day. Can you imagine that? Just two drummers. Trading off eights and fours and whatever, all day long. You know? And I'm standing outside listening to this. Sitting on the steps. You know? Anybody in here ever heard of Julius Palmer, bass player?
I played with him.
Anybody else ever heard of Julius Palmer? Yeah. He used to play with what's his name, Steve, with the clarinet player, Mr. Alvin Baptiste. Him and Henry Butler, Alvin Baptiste, Herman Jackson. Earl Turpin was in that band, I think. They played at a place called Lou and Charlie's. That was one of the most famous jazz clubs in all of New Orleans back in the 70s. That's where I used to hang at 11 years old. Yeah, it was funny. I was the only kid allowed in there too.
Is that Uptown?
I was the only one allowed to play on James Black's drums. Anybody touched the drums, it was, oh man.
Was that Uptown, Shannon?
No, Ursuline and Rampart.
Okay.
Your dad used to be in there.
Yeah.
And your uncles too. That was the premier jazz club. Steve knew about that. You know, but that's why I got a chance to hear. Right, that's the place. That's another place I got a chance to really hear modern jazz. See, I started getting opened up. They was opening me up. See, I started learning a whole lot, and a lot of times it was very challenging for me at that age because I started listening to that music, and I was like, man, I don't know how to play that. I don't know if I'll be able to play this kind of music. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing as a kid, you know, I ain't up with some music. You know, I ain't up with some music. You know what I'm saying? But as I got older, I started developing the sound and listening to Jazz Black and listening to these songs, buying records, you know, listening to Max Roach, Clifford Brown, and all these people, you know, and I started opening up a whole lot. And it all really made sense to me after all that stuff I've been through as a kid, playing sanctified music, playing in the brass bands. It all really came to me of what actually I got myself involved with. Jazz. Wow.
Yeah, I got a question. I know you hung out with James a lot. Did you actually just have a lesson with James? And
Yeah. James was the one that really
taught?
taught me how to count.
Oh yeah.
Because see, I was a countant. See, I was about that. And James was the one that taught me how to count in 5 and 6 and 7 and, you know, different things like that. And matter of fact, he was in the house one day playing, and actually he was writing a piece. And he asked me to sit on the drums and play while he played this. And he looked at me and said, man, why would you play that? I'm like, now I start shaking. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't play the drum. He said, man, let me show you. And it actually was the monkey puzzle piece.
Oh yeah.
But to me, back then, you all just don't know how hard that was for me to do. I mean, to put that on that like that, I had never did that. See, that was something, I couldn't feel it. I really couldn't even feel it. I was like, man, hold on. I said, hey, give me time. He said, man, ain't number 1, 2, 3, 5. I said, oh, really? That's all it is? I said, listen. And ever since, and then he showed me how to play with it, you know. He said, nah, don't just play that, now mix it up. I said, what you mean mix it up? Man, play some stuff in between all that. You got a lot of space there. I said, okay. Yeah, he said, yeah, what's up? I said, so, you know, That's what I'm saying. I was getting opened up. I was learning that I could play so much more music than what I was playing trad music, because I had really accomplished that. You know, as a kid, really early, I learned that sort of style of noise very early. You know, I had that under my belt. So moving on, then I moved on to playing funk, and that's when I run into Zigaboo. See, playing with the funky meters. Totally another challenge. I'm like, oh my God. I want to stop playing drums again. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, like I said, again, it's just music. It's just some other music and styles. That's why it's so important. Mr. Barker even told me when I was young, you know, don't just play traditional New Orleans music. Learn other styles, because there's so much music out here. And music is fun, you know what I'm saying? And if you can't play the styles of the music, you can't have fun. You know what I'm saying? You can sit in with a band and they play some stuff, and you feel like, wow, man, why I don't know this style? It's your fault. You got all the time in the world to learn styles. And another thing I like to tell you all too about reading music. After you learn how to read music and stuff, start learning about soul searching. A lot of musicians don't know that when I say about that. They be like, what do you mean by soul? Soul searching means go dig deeper down in your soul now for some sounds so you can play solos. Because I notice a lot of young musicians, they learn a lot about reading, writing, composing, but they don't learn how to play with soul. And I'm just here to tell y'all that you have to soul search, because it helps when you're playing your solo. You can't tell your story if you don't have no soul. And everybody in here got a soul. But you have to soul search. You know, whether it's going to church, you know, because a lot of jazz musicians, they don't think about that. But I like to remind you, that's where the soul is at. You don't have to be a member of a Baptist church to go get some soul. Just go in there and check it out with the feeling. You're going for a feeling. You ain't going to join the church. You're going to hear the music and try to peep out a feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because music is about feeling. Everybody can play a bunch of notes, but if you play a bunch of notes and they ain't saying nothing, you ain't saying nothing. You just burn up a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be like Keith Jarrett, you can't be like Coltrane, you can't be like none of people. There's only one of those people. But you could be the next Coltrane. You could be the person we're looking for. If you dig deep down in your soul and bring out what's in you and the talent that God gave you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, even when you're reading music, somebody might write a score for you. You want to take that score and play it better than he wrote it. Yeah, you sort of cat say, damn, this cat really got some feeling, you know, feeling. You know, I'd rather play with a musician that got feeling any day of the week than to play with somebody that's playing a bunch of notes and they ain't saying nothing. Because a lot of musicians standing next to you, they ain't gonna tell you. They ain't gonna tell you ain't playing nothing. They gonna say, oh wow, man, that was killing. Man, you played some shit that time. You know what I'm saying? And really, you ain't playing nothing. You know, so, and you will know, trust me, you will know when you have that sound and that feeling, because your phone will be ringing. Yeah, your phone will be ringing, you know what I'm saying? Cats be looking after you for lessons and, you know. Anybody have any more questions?
I got a question. Why is New Orleans so famous for producing such great drummers?
Well, because the Congo Square, see? Well, I was telling you about the roots of the music, it all started right here. This is where all the great drummers was coming from, out right there in front of the municipal auditorium. You know what I'm saying? That's something started that's rooted, deeply rooted. That's why I tell people I'm part of the source. You know, you got people that say all kinds of things, critics, musicians, they say everything, you know. But I was taught years ago, do not get into the politics. See, that's why my feelings don't get hurt when people say things about me, or I don't get involved in that. Because I'm marching on that way, see? Because talk is, you know what we say, cheap. But I'm part of the source, so you have to know who you are and where you come from. I'm not here. I thought I turned it off. You know what I'm saying? So the idea is, it's not so much great drums come out of New Orleans, it's the rhythm that we're talking about. Just that one little second line beat makes people think, especially a lot of drummers from all around the world. I met a bunch of great ones and they asked me to show them that beat. And once I show it to them, they be like, oh, okay. Look like my friend Louis Nash, you know, great friend of mine. I taught him a lot about New Orleans second line beat. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Watts, I taught a lot of them cats. Clarence Penn, you know. But it's just a rhythm, you know. And New Orleans drummers play on with full a lot, you know. A lot of drummers from other places, they play on top. That's a New Orleans drum right there. See that boy? Like a big band drum. We always use the bass drum, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anybody else any more questions?
Who are some of the guys, now you learn from all these great drummers now, how are you passing on, other than, you know, the guys you just mentioned, these?
Well, I have a little class I do every Saturday at my house.
Okay.
With a lot of little young kids from the Trinity. They're really small. And I'm telling you, they're gonna be giants. They're bad. They got some little kids in there that really can play and understand the music at an early age like me. But that's my thing, is I'm trying to pass it down, and I don't even charge them, you know, because they always pass the house when I'm practicing, and they always knock on the door and I let them in. And then I start automatically just start teaching them because they're really gifted. And I invite other people to bring their kids too. You know, a lot of my friends, every Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, my house is full of kids. Anybody else?
Shannon, would you say that swing is dead? And
What?
jazz nowadays?
Well, I wouldn't say it's dead, but it's not alive like it used to be. I tell you, back in the 70s and the 80s, when I was speaking about catching the tail end of New Orleans music, it's the same thing with swing. I had an opportunity years ago to do a lot of traveling, and I was able to meet some of the late great musicians that passed away and hang out with them, like great drummer Oliver Jackson, you know, oh man, what's the other cat? Well, I played for many years with the late great Miss Dorothy Donegan. I don't know if you're all familiar with her. She's a great piano player like Oscar Peterson, and I hung out with her a lot. And I hung out with a lot of people. I've met a lot of great people, you know, through Danny Barker, Mr. Cozy Cole, you know, Milt Henson. I recorded with him with Mr. Russell Lawrence Trio, you know, and a lot of the musicians, you know, we'll never hear that kind of music anymore, unfortunately. You know, it's just the way it is. You know, and I was so fortunate to be able to hang out with them people and play with them. You know, on these big festivals I was playing with Mr. Barker back in the 70s. You know, Sweet Citizen. You know, all these people were friends with Mr. Barker, Wallace Davenport. You know. Yeah.
Would you be willing to share some of what Mr. Barker taught you about being a professional, like you mentioned earlier?
Oh, most definitely. I can share a story with you about disappearing on the gig when I was a teenager. I used to always disappear on the break, you know. And he didn't like that. Because a lot of times, what I didn't know that the plans change, you know. Whoever the people that's hiring us, they change plans right in the middle of the party, so they want the band to start playing again before the break is. You know about that, Brian. You know, they'd be like, where's Brian? Oh, he went to practice here, rest. Because Brian thinking the break is gonna be, you know, 15 minutes. Well, when I get back in 15 minutes, he's standing there looking at me like, man, where have you been? I said, I went to the store. To the store. Man, you're on the gig. You're not supposed to disappear on the gig. And I'm like, why not? This is the break. First lesson. You're on the gig, you don't disappear. You never know what the people want to do. The people that hired you, they might want to change plans. So they change plans and you're not there. You're breaching the contract. You know. And they were looking for me. Everybody, the bride, everybody was looking for me. The bride, they all looking for me. Where's the drummer? He done disappeared. So that was lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, do not touch nothing on the tables. The food, don't touch nothing. That does not belong to you. You didn't come here to eat. You came here to play. Because I used to run the table, you know, and just pull off stuff off the table like I'm a part of the party, you know. Because I had my little suit on, I was, you know, Mr. Walker like, hey man, come here. Don't never do that on my gig again. I was like, what I did, Mr. Walker? You took that food off that table. I'm like, I did this. What's going on now? We can't have no piece of sandwich. Sounds funny, but it's true. It's just back then. Now it's different things. It's totally different now. You know?
Not really.
Not really. But just little things like that. Presentation means a lot. You know, your appearance. You know, I used to didn't like to wear a tie back then. Mr. Barker said, you come on my gig one more time without a tie, I'm gonna call somebody else. I went and bought a box of ties. That's right. You know, time, you know, being on time and traveling like, he didn't like a lot of drums. So I had, my grandmother just bought me this big old drum set, and I just wanted to set the drum set up. Well, I don't care where I play, I just wanted to make sure all the pieces was up. Mr. Barker get that, man, what I told you. I said, what I did now? Look at all those drums. Where am I gonna get? This is not a rock and roll band. You play jazz. So, if you come on some of my gigs now at Hermes, I do every other week I play at this place called Hermes on St. Louis between Bourbon and Royal. You would notice I only have one cymbal, snare drum, cowbell, and hi-hat. I'm traveling light. You know, that's stuck on me for life, you know. Travel light. Yeah.
I have another question for you, man. So, you know, I mean, you grew up in New Orleans in the church and hearing all this rhythm and stuff like that. When you hear, as you know, and you have this incredible sense of pulse and just steady time. And there's just a lot of drummers sometimes that we play with that don't have that steady sense of pulse. I mean, they play a lot of drums, but might speed up, slow down, or just cut things off. What would you tell drummers that need to work on their time, or, you know, I don't know what you call it. Would you call it time, or just a sense of pulse?
Yeah.
Where, you know, I mean, you know, with you could set up a can and you wouldn't budge. You know what I mean?
That's very important you said that, because a lot of people, a lot of musicians, great drummers, and I know a lot of them have studied and practiced with the metronome. I never did that. I never did that, because it's just, to me, when I tried it, it started making me sound stiff. See, I wasn't loose no more. I was getting so into that metronome, I was starting to sound like, you know, like I was in the military, which is cool to a certain extent. But what I do at home when I practice different time, I start slow and I go fast, and you start. man, you bring it on down. Anybody got another question? Come on, give me a high.
Yeah, there's a lot of joy in your playing when you play the drums. Like, was that did you already have that in the beginning, or I mean, you know, everybody has their own way of playing. Like, you know, like all the old cats, like Papa Joe, they were all like just having fun, but really nailing it. So yeah, how do you do?
Well, I try very hard to have fun, because if I'm not having fun, it turns into work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, when I play the drums, I don't like to think of me as working on a job, you know what I'm saying? That's why I like to play with musicians that come on the job, that looking at their watch, and they're not, there's no emotion, they don't, you know, like when I play with Ed Peterson, he's got the emotion and the playing. I mean, I can tell that he wants to be here. Yeah, he wants to be there playing his horn. You can feel that. Same with Victor, you know, and Steve, you know. When I play with them, I can tell they want to be there. They're not just up there playing because it's to pass some time. They want to play. They're like a kid, you know. You're having to play with your toys, and you have kids that like to play with toys, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna play with our toys, and we're gonna play right, and we ain't gonna snatch out each other's toys and all that. I ain't gonna snatch your sack, he ain't gonna snatch my. We're gonna play together, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna make a conversation. That's what I like about jazz, especially when it comes down to soloing, you know. I like to play when the cats are taking. I can solo, I mean, play behind cats, so a lot of drummers be like, man, horn players, man, they just take all the solos and put all the button drum. I said, well, guess what? You gotta have fun. Why they having fun? They have fun with them. Because I can solo while saxophone players playing. I can be doing my whole other stuff while he's playing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it ain't like you just keeping time, you know what I'm saying? Do something with that time. Make him play some more. Twitch him. You know, that's the way that goes. You know?
Shannon, talk a little bit about, you were mentioning the other day about dynamics and how, you know, I mean, you play so lightly. Talk a little bit about that, like controlling that.
I was telling you about, Mr. Barker was telling me about that years ago. When I was a little kid, I didn't really know a lot about brushes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I learned that from watching great drummers like Smokey Johnson, Mr. Earl Palmer, and John Boudreaux. That concept took me a little while because it was totally new to me playing with these wires, you know, as opposed to playing with sticks as all my life, you know what I'm saying? But I started really paying attention to great drummers that can play with brushes, like Ed Thigpen and you know, Philly Joe Jones, you know what I'm saying? I started listening to a lot of that work. But when I started playing in the trio setting with Miss Dorothy Donegan, she taught me a lot about dynamics and playing soft, but still being effective with the groove. Because a lot of times you tell people play soft, they lose the groove. You know what I'm saying? So you know, you playing soft. That bass drum is the secret right there. See, if I don't play the bass drum, then now all that's open for the bass man. And it's so important, especially when you're playing with singers and piano players, to be able to know how to play with a full sound and soft. Who's the bass player? Come on, put him down. So right now, I feel that bass. In the evening, when the sun goes down, I'm gonna pack my baby and bring my name. Went home. All right. See, that's fun. But that's the idea in the trio setting with a guitar, piano player. The idea is to play at a volume where you can hear them right here on the stage. You don't need no mind. That's electric. You don't need that. Not with this music. You know what I'm saying? And I learned that playing with the bunch of Marcellus and the Jazz at Lincoln Center. Because I was very unaware of that too, because I played with Harry for years. I always had a monitor. When I got a window, went and showed me some other stuff that I wasn't aware of. I mean, with the big band, I was on the stage, and I had no monitor. We playing, I'm telling Wendell, I'm saying, look, I cannot hear, man. He said, why you can't hear? I said, man, I don't have no monitor. He said, you don't need no monitor. We don't, the rhythm section don't use monitors. Marcus Roberts, you know, Harold Riley, Reginald Bill, they don't use monitors. It's all up in here. And it took me a while to get that together, but the idea is that if I'm playing loud, I can't hear nobody. But if I'm playing at a volume where I can hear that acoustic bass and that piano, because, you know, what the horns are playing, it doesn't matter, that's different. All I need to hear is the rhythm section. So if we play at a volume where we can hear one another, the music grooves so hard, because the music is going out there anyway. You know, what's on the stage is going out there anyhow. So it took me a long time to figure that out.
As far as jazz goes, would you say that the young cats don't swing as much as the older cats did?
Oh, most definitely, but guess what? It's not because they can't. It's because they're not seeking the information and the style, see?
It just
A
seemed
lot
like
of cats don't listen to Philly Joe no more. You know, you got a lot of young musicians that don't listen to Philly Joe, Max Roach. You know, these cats, they don't come up like we came up. You know, we came up listening to Philly Joe and Max Roach.
young cats have,
Elvis.
they have like a crisp sound, and they normally play like a lot of vamps.
Right, but they play on top too.
Yeah.
Everything is on top. No bottle, but no feeling, see?
That's
They take the bass drum out.
Smokey Johnson, I was at the Jazz Fest, and Eric Carlin was playing with Terrence, and Smokey was like, man, this drum ain't got no foot.
No, because they don't play like that. That's not the way they play.
Why do you think jazz has evolved into what it is now, where it's not that much swing happening anymore?
Well, because people are not seeking the information, man. You know, nobody's interested like they were before. You know, you have a very few people, limited people that are very interested in jazz. You know, jazz seems to be hard to a lot of music, especially New Orleans type jazz. A lot of musicians all over the world, they pass this music out. Have you ever noticed that you have no drummers from New York that are famous ever come to New York to hang out? Nobody ever paid attention to that. You'll never see a great New York drummer hanging out in New Orleans. I'm talking about like Kenny Washington, you know, those Louis Nash, those guys, they don't hang down here. Can you give me one reason why you think they don't? Because they play one style of music. Kenny Washington ain't interested in playing like Zigaboo. He ain't interested in playing like Mia Hurley. He ain't interested in playing like Paul Barber. He's interested in playing like what he's playing like the old cats that he studied on those records. You know what I'm saying? It's all about what you're interested in. You know, that's how you become great at it. Because what you like, it's all about what you like. And whatever you like, that's what you spend time in. As I was speaking about earlier, you have certain musicians that play one style of music. You know, how can you solo on any kind of music playing one style of music? You know? No, Miles played a bunch of music.
Oh no, I would just say that his approach to trumpet didn't change as much as like the styles of music. Like,
Did you check out what he did before he passed away on all that phone?
Yeah.
All right. You know, it's about styles, man. You know, people tend to spend time on what they like. It's just the way it is. You know, and it shows in their playing.
Can you talk a little bit like in trad music, like how the drummer and the bass player should kind of define the form, like when you should play in two and when you should
Right.
walk, things like that.
Right.
People,
The
I mean,
trad thing with the bass player and the drummer, we always start out in two. And we only go to the swing when during the solos. And then we will come out of the solos back into two. You know. Okay, that's the beginning. Now when they go into the solo, they be real light. And we come right out, you know. Real hard. But most of the bass players back then, they didn't slap, you know. Give it that real and then we can play all that other stuff. Musicians want to play something? Y'all want to play a little something? I got about another good half an hour.
great, man. Saxophone player?
You play bass too? Come on. Shannon, Powell, give Trey a hand, y'all. Any more horn players? Horn players? Horn? watch your horn, man. Whatever you got, pull it out. Time to help you.
Talk to him.
Yeah, come on. I shoot in the house. Wow. Do anybody have any more questions right quick?
Did you play any other instruments? Just for fun at
A
home?
little piano, yeah. Just for fun, too. Oh, there you go. All right, we got a piano. What's your name, man?
Jordan.
Jordan in the house. Give him a hand, y'all. What you say, man?
I missed the beginning of this, so I don't mean to be redundant, but did you bring a tambourine?
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you talked about it?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about that, but we're gonna do a little
I
more.
was tardy, so I missed that part of it.
That's another thing I want to mention about when I'm glad you brought that up, Ray. About when I was speaking about the tambourine. That's also a lot of where the New Orleans Indian music came from too, from the Sanctified Church. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff. We got my can't put it out. We big chick gon' make you shout. I'm going back to my home. We big chick like because see all that stuff, all that come out the Sanctified Church. my phone number. Wow, wonderful musicians. Anybody else have any more? What about some drummers? You want to come up and play a little bit while I play the tambourine or something? Come on, Peter. Come on, Peter. Come on, give him a hand, huh? Come on, Peter. Oh, come on, Peter. Peter, I'm gonna give you a lick to play. Play this for me. That's all you gotta play. That's all you gotta play. Give him that old phone. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness, I got myself a new band.
Give him another round.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for having me to our favorite music. Don't forget, anytime y'all want, y'all all welcome to come to any of my gigs and sit in. I'm at the Windsor Court every Friday and Saturday. On Fridays, we're there in the lobby lounge from 5:30 to 9:30. On Saturday nights, we're upstairs in the Polo Lounge from 9 to midnight. So you're all welcome to come and sit in anytime you want, all right? And I'm at Hermes every other Friday when Sasha's not there.
Preservation Hall.
Preservation, oh, that's right. Thank you, sir. Every Tuesday, Preservation Hall. So you're all welcome to come on any of my gigs and bring your instruments, please. Thank you very much for having me, y'all. Good, I gotta pick my daughter up. All right, thank you.